hola mis queridos, ¿cómo estás mi amoricia? Hello my kittens, how are you? My name is Austin, and today we're playing Nancy Drew Labyrinth of Lies Pre-Order Edition. And I'm calling it Pre-Order Edition because that is basically the only time you are able to get the Collector's Edition, at least when it comes to Her Interactive's Nancy Drew games. I can actually tell you what the difference is between Collector's Edition and the regular game when it comes to the Nancy Drew games, because it's pretty detailed and it doesn't really change much as it does for some series, some gaming companies. With Nancy Drew, what you get on the Collector's Edition, which is usually on Nancy's cell phone, that is if Nancy has a cell phone in the game, you get phone charms, you get mini games on that cell phone, and you also get random texts from a certain someone. And that certain someone is usually Ned Nickerson, her boyfriend, or as I like to call her, romantic friend. Bit of a pet peeve of mine, particularly because of the book series. Her Interactive bases all of their video games off the Nancy Drew book series, and the book series has been going on since 1930. Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. I know I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I just want to make sure that all the points are coming across here. For the random text, it's not always Ned Nickerson. It can also be Bess and George, Nancy's best friends, and Bess and George are cousins. Or it could be Frank and Joe Hardy, and those are the Hardy boys. And I'm saying Hardy Boys because that's also a book series. And that book series actually started, I think, a couple years before Nancy Drew. I'm fairly certain it was before Nancy Drew. And it's just really interesting how that kind of sticks out there. Back then, and I guess now, even though in our current generation, our current time period, we're trying to be inclusive, universal, all that kind of stuff, people are still sexist. I don't mean to bring this up, but it's going to be brought up in your life at some point. I just want to say that people can be sexist. I'm not saying that the companies that started the Nancy Drew series or the Hardy Boys series are sexist. I'm just saying that back then they just assumed that people who want to read certain books are a certain type of people. They stereotyped, they judged. I know not a lot of people try not to judge, try not to stereotype, but there are people who are like that. I try not to be, even though I'm sure I do, without meaning to be, of course. It's just so sad to see that happen. And I think the Hardy Boys and the Nancy Drew series were aimed toward a specific gender. I'm not saying it's sexist, but the series were created for a specific gender. Hardy Boys, the Hardy brothers, they're detectives. They're amateur, well, all three of them are amateur detectives, really, because they're professionals get paid, amateurs don't. The Hardy Boys are basically aimed towards the boys, Nancy Drew mainly towards the girls. But nowadays, both series, anyone who's anyone can read them. The older generation are trying to get their young ones to read it too. No matter how old they are, no matter what kind of person they are, no matter what gender they've chosen. It's amazing how universal, how inclusive we are nowadays. But I gotta mention, not a lot of people are like that now. Not a lot of people are like that. Okay, so I've deviated far too much on that. Let me get back to the game. I just wanted to mention that because the world nowadays is just in shambles. Okay, so like I said, Her Interactive bases all the video games off books, and let me mention, Labyrinth of Lies is based off the book The Greek Simple Mystery number 60 from the original series. And I'm not going to mention why I'm saying original series just because I've already talked too much as it is. The book is actually a really good, I'm not going to go into detail about it, I'm going to bring it up at the end of the video. I want to get into the game, but I do want to mention just a few more things, because I do know from my research that the publishing companies there's actually two publishing companies. I think both companies did this because it's been going on since 1930. They like to reset the series, and I mean reset. They restart the series from number 1. They either retitle it, give it a new plots, or they revise it with new cover art, better grammar, better punctuation, and all that jazz. And I do mean cover art. I did my research and found 6 different cover arts for The Greek Simple Mystery number 60. And I'm actually going to try to be saying the book title a couple more times, not just here, but at the end of the video as well, because every time I say the title, I'm going to be showing you each cover art that I discovered. Because seriously, The Greek Simple Mystery number 60 It's actually a really good book, and I'm not going to go into much detail about it, as I said before, because I wanted to talk about it at the end of the video. I will tell you more. I've talked too much as it is. Let's go ahead and get into the game. One thing that I do... Actually, no, there are two things. Frick! Okay. One, with every Nancy Drew game that her Interactive makes, there's 2 levels that you can choose from, and that's Amateur Sleuth and Master Sleuth. Amateur, you get regular puzzles, it's available, detailed task list. Master, you get more challenging puzzles, no hints, basic task list. Now, before game number 28, Ghost of Thorn Hall, basic task list meant no task list whatsoever. And I know I'm rushing this, I'm not enunciating my words, but there was just like one thing on there and it said, I'm a senior detective or Master Sleuth, I don't need a task list, check that off and you're done for the rest of the game. You can't talk to anyone on your cell phone for hints or anything like that. But now with the new interface, with the new features that are within the interface, you actually do get a basic task list. And this started with game number 28, Ghost of Thorn Hall. We actually do get the new interface in game number 27, but they didn't add the 2 new features until Ghost of Thorn Hall. And 27 was Deadly Device with Super Love. I love learning about Nikola Tesla. Alright, so the last thing I want to mention is if anything in this video does not look familiar, it is because you have not been keeping up. Please, please, please check the description box below. There's the previous video as well as the playlist. I recommend the playlist because it will have everything that I've done so far with Nancy Drew the Labyrinth of Lies, and let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, right. Sorry, I did say there were 2 features. There is the fast combo feature. I'm going to try to show that because we are going to be progressing into the game. And the other one I am going to show you once we open it. Okay, so, if you did not watch the achievements, or sorry, not achievements, if you did not watch the phone charms and the Easter egg video, I did manage to get 2 Easter eggs to get caught up, as well as all of the phone charms. That is why when we look at the phone here, we can see all 7 phone charms. There is a 3rd charm, or third egg that we can get. I can't do it right now because I don't have access to a certain item that I need. And there were actually a couple of things that happened in that video that made me realize, oh, this is to help me progress in the game. I'm going to include that in the video, and I think I'm going to insert those, I guess, right here.
Is this workshop yours?
We need to use props for the show. We're pretending they're actual statues and artifacts, because we can't use the real things.
So you may...
No! No. Not fakes. There's a process in place. The last thing the museum wants is confusion about what's real and what isn't.
There's no way this invoice is right.
And there you go. So, yeah. I completely forgot that I had to look at this. It frustrates me all the heck. So, now that we've looked at that, let's actually talk to Niobe, because I do know it's going to bring up something that we do need from her.
Yes?
Gosh dang it, we're still not getting it.
Talk to you later.
Until later.
But we also did find one thing that I forgot to do when we were in the not in the underworld, but we were in Grigor's area. We got this book here, Underworld Mists. Let's see what does it say. Because we only got the table of contents, and it would take us to Tartarus in the underworld. So let's read it. Following their death, souls had to pay an obelisk coin to the ferryman Sharon for... I'm going to say Sharon. I'm not doing the Charon thing. This is Greece, not American. To the ferryman Sharon for passage across the river Acheron. On the far side of the river, they arrived at the gates to the underworld, which were guarded by the 3-headed dog Cerberus. After passing through the gates, souls wandered the underworld until they stood before Rhadamanthus, Minos, and Icos, the judges of the dead. Once the soul was judged, they could either enter the gates to Elysium if they had lived an exemplary life, or Tartarus if they needed to atone for their transgressions. Oof. The condemned souls guarded by the 100-handed Hecatoncheirus giants labored over their punishments in Tartarus. King Sisyphus, for his trickery and lies, was made to roll a boulder up a hill. Oh, that was him! only to see it come rolling back down just before reaching the top every time. The husband, murdering Danaidus, futilely toiled carrying water in a leaky basin. Tantalus was a man invited to dine with the gods, but he stole their nectar and ambrosia to share with other mortals. He was sentenced to spend eternity in Tartarus, up to his neck in water, with the tree's fruit blowing tantalizing, just out of reach anytime he tried to reach for one. Ouch. Deep within the pit of Tartarus was the prison which held the elder gods, the Titans, led by Cronus. The Titans had ruled the earth until Cronus' son, Zeus, ignited a rebellion against them. With his allies, including the Hecatoncheires, and wielding his lightning bolts, Zeus defeated and imprisoned all the Titans who had fought against him, except Atlas. Zeus punished Atlas by forcing him to hold the world on his shoulders. Alright, well this explains the Disney movie Hercules, even though Disney still got some things wrong about that. But, punishing Atlas by forcing him to hold the world on his shoulders, this does explain that statue that we're so fond of, that we're so familiar with in reality, because there actually is a statue in Greece of Atlas holding the world on his shoulders. Okay, so there are some things that I noticed when I was going over the post-production of the video. When I was reading over the Tartarus and the underworld parts of the video, I realized a couple of things, and I'm not just talking about the post-production work of it. The actual book itself, Zeus really did do that to his family. Ultimately, those Titans are related to Cronus, right? So if the Titans are related to Cronus, that would mean those Titans are Zeus's brothers. I would assume. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm assuming from the movie Hercules. I could be wrong on that. I remember from the movie Hercules learning that Hades was his brother or something like that. Although I think that might be correct. I'm sure we'll learn something about that somewhere in the game. But I do know for a fact that Zeus is a bit of a... I'm going to say it now. Zeus is a bit of an ass. Technically that's not cursing, but I just want to point that out because of what Zeus does. Not to his wife, but to other women during his marriage. Yeah, that kind of ass. He's not just that much of a pervert, though. I understand that he wanted to put the bad guys in some form of a prison, which is nice. It puts the world in a safe place. But ultimately, this is betraying his father. You don't betray your family, whether they're evil or not. Which sucks considering the Disney franchise descendants. But hey, this is insane of what Zeus does to his dad. And not just that, but like the punishments that he put Atlas through, I would imagine he also did the punishments for those in Tartarus and the underworld. I would assume. He's the one that put Hades there, correct? I would imagine so. I don't think we learn about Zeus and Hades in this game. I don't think so. And if I'm correct on that, I will try to put some information on Zeus and Hades somewhere in my videos of the game. Which is unfortunate, because I really do want you all to learn more about the Greek mythology. Because seriously, the Greek mythology is very fascinating. This bit, for example, I really want you all to learn something in every single game that I upload. That must have been Zeus that did that to him. That's weird. I never knew that. I didn't know Zeus had done that to him. Why didn't he imprison Atlas? Wait, so he did defeat him, but he didn't imprison him. Why would he do that? Ooh, this has given me some story ideas. This could help with that story that I was trying to write. Oh my gosh, that helps. I am print screening this. Alright, so that took me longer than expected. Trying to understand that. Okay, let's see. There might be something in the office. Oh yeah, there was. The messenger. Investigate the sets. There's something that's been keeping me up at night. You got it, babe. Pinnacus reps. I've been getting angry calls from the Pinnacus stage design people. Apparently we're not giving them enough access. They may be coming in to inspect the stage. I'll keep you updated. Interesting. Alright. I think I might do a video on its own just on this, just because there's so much to listen to, and I think there might be more unlocking considering these two are still empty. And I think those might be the extras. I could be wrong. Because that's also part of the collector's edition, is that we get extras for that, for those stage audios. And extra stuff on Gregor's tablet, if I'm correct. Let's see. So,
I'd like to take a closer look at the poster.
yes, there's something on the back of this that we found out about. Okay, so there's nothing in there. Oh, right! I completely forgot. So, one of the features that we have is the hint system, and the hint system is connected to the spoiler-free achievement. Look, I already have 4 achievements. Freaking awesome. The spoiler-free achievement, like I said, is connected to the hint system. Okay, so, I think I'm gonna try calling Melina.
How are things going?
Why is Niobe making copies of the art?
Not copies, approximations.
I don't follow.
The concept of this whole debacle was maybe a bit too ambitious. It all came together in pieces until I was in over my head.
Tell me what you mean.
When the stage renovation became a reality, people started paying attention to our little museum again. Great, right? That let me attract patrons and set up loans, and bit by bit, the exhibit came together. And soon we had a world-class exhibit on our hands.
Sounds great.
It is, but it isn't. No one in all of Greece has heard of the Phidias Cultural Center. Here we are with a world-class exhibit and no eyes to enjoy it.
So that's...
Right. It was a new idea. We put the art where it belongs, right in front of the gods. Once the play is done, the audience can go see the very pieces shown on stage. But the real version, of course.
That's a cool concept.
It is, but then comes the problem of how to copy the art, but not copy the art.
Right.
Niobe had to sign some paperwork agreeing to use only certain materials, colors, and scale.
So none of the copies could be confused with the originals, right?
Right. She's done a wonderful job, but we've had the owners breathing down our necks every step of the way. Every step. Never again.
You know what? I was hesitant about asking this, but I think Melina should know about this, considering this is her museum.
Did you know about the secret door in the museum?
What are you talking about? Secret door?
Niobe was using it.
Oh.
Is that a problem?
Of course this is a problem. Keep an eye on Niobe. Don't let her know what you've seen.
Why?
It could be she likes secret doors, or it could be she's up to something. Observe her.
Alright. Well,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
at least we can show Melina when she arrives. If she arrives. Alright, we'll talk to Frank and Joe later. That is if we have time. I'm already noticing the time. Of course, I did talk quite a bit at the beginning, so...
I need a big favor.
Okay, what's that?
Can you set me up with the time cards from the office? I have been so underwater, I haven't been tracking our rehearsal time.
I'll see what I can do. I think everyone's a little afraid of Thanos.
Don't worry about him. He's all bark, no bite.
I guess. But he seems
doubt it.
very isolated from the rest of the cast.
Creative differences. Just part of the process.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, Niobe did mention that that Thanos was typecast as a monster. Oof. You know what? I'm just checking for gosh darn sake. No, okay. He's still not there. It's because I need to look something on here? Oh hey, there's more. Niobe is struggling with her role. Possible fix may include dropping her behind a scrim as often as possible. Maybe the less we see, the better off she is. Ouch. But Nancy Girl seems to know what she's doing. I might make use of that if things get too overwhelming. Alright. I'm fine with that. The stage lifts have been running too hot. To resolve, we need to cut final rotation of the stages following intermission. There should be a better solution, but I can't find it. Need to make sure everyone knows that whatever and whoever is down there stays down there following intermission. Interesting. Ooh. Seriously, please don't shoot the messenger. I put some calls in about Thanos' background. The good news is he's probably a murderer. Bad news, he's connected to Kronos. Kronos is real! Maybe it's not the same Kronos. Is there a really friendly, non-terrifying organization called Kronos that isn't connected to the Greek Mafia? Oh, the Greek Mafia! No? Okay, fine. You know what? I think I need to reread the book. I said this in the previous video, and I have remembered my password to the websites, which I have mentioned in that website so many times in previous videos. I'm going to mention it again at the end of the video. Plutus, casting sheet prepared. Even if they rip the red stitching in my bag, no one will ever suspect the truth behind the sheet and read between those lines. There it is. Okay. What's in the box? Whatever notes Xenia has been scribbling must be very important. Why else would she lock them up in that box? I got a peek at the lock, and I think I figured it out. The letters around the empty squares indicate which letters belong in what row or column. If I place all the letters into the squares in a continuous line alphabetically, that should unlock the box. Maybe I shouldn't look. Should I? I want to. Maybe not. Who does that? Who locks up their notes? I'm actually taking a picture of this, because I did not fully understand those instructions. But red stitching, huh?
This must be the red stitching Gregor mentioned on his tablet. Plutus? That's not a character in the Persephone story.
But I think it is in Midnight Summer's Dream. Give me that beautiful soundboard.
Hi.
Hi. Is there anything else in the conversation? Nope. Okay. Alright.
Later.
Bye.
Well, you saw those yellow arrows of the fast combo feature, and I actually showed you what it does. It skips the conversation of what Nancy says. I can also do it with what the character is saying as well, but I didn't want to skip any of her dialogue simply because it is important to the story. So I am actually going to go ahead and stop here, considering I am behind on schedule. Alrighty, dighty, we are good, and I'm hoping the footage is good as far as behind the scenes, the post-production, because I've been having issues with Bonfire Stories, and I forgot to switch the settings from Bonfire Stories to Nancy Drew, so hopefully with the settings that I have for that game won't affect this one. So let's hope it's a good thing. Anyway, I think I've pretty much talked way too much at the beginning, that I pretty much got to head out now, simply because I really do want to make sure this video is somewhat short, relatively. So I think the only thing I'm going to mention is the book that this game is based off of, which is the Greek Simple Mystery number 60. I gotta mention that 2 more times because there are 6 different book cover arts that I want to show you. The book, the Greek Simple Mystery number 60, I actually do not know how to paraphrase the book, really. The plot of it, I should say. So the only way I can describe it is that Nancy goes to Greece with her friends Bess and George. They go to a shopping district, they have a bunch of fun, and in the process, I think it was a sneaky thief, because the thief had run from either a museum or some other place and had bumped into Nancy, and she decided to drop her shopping bag and give chase to stop the thief. I think the thief got away, but in the process, she got arrested because, that thief, with that bump into Nancy, put an item that he had stolen from the museum in her shopping bag, and that stolen item was a mask, interestingly enough. But nonetheless, he stole it from a museum. Can you believe that? Interestingly enough, the Greece police automatically assumed that she was guilty. They would not accept any evidence or any verbal evidence that Nancy was a good person, that she was a detective, anything like that. It just dug her into a deeper hole. They took that evidence as it gives her a way to help the thief gang do their bidding of whatever they're trying to do. It scared not only Nancy, it scared me too, because that can't happen. Bess tried to help by giving that kind of evidence, but it just dug her in a deeper hole. George stopped her from doing that. George did something smart, grabbed someone who actually could prove Nancy's innocence. They just did not want her involved with what was going on with the thief gang at all. It's hearsay. Everything they did was hearsay. I didn't like it at all. Anyway, what Nancy does after that is just try to prove, or not prove, but just try to figure out what's going on with that. Not to mention help her dad with the case that he had, which was to find a certain cousin of a family, as well as missing inheritance. Interestingly enough, the book never said whose inheritance it was, and we don't find out until the end of the book. Anyway, if you don't have a copy of this book, I can actually give you a link in the description box below of where you can find one. In fact, it will be a direct link to the book, and the website is archive.org. It's actually a really cool website. It's basically a library database, and there's actually different library sections that you can go to on the website. It's actually been a while since I've been on there, until recently, I guess, because of the Facebook group I'm in. In fact, I'll put a link to the Facebook group I'm in as well. It is a weekly game club that I'm in for Nancy Drew. What we do is play the game as well as read the books that the game is based off. And often the admin, the creator of the group, will post movies as well as shows that have similar aspects of not just the game, but possibly the book as well, which I think is super cool. I love that idea. But anyway, the website, archive.org, it's a huge library database, different library sections. You can look up anything. You can check out 5 books at a time, 2 weeks per book. That's 14 days, seriously. And it's free, seriously free. I'm not sponsored here. I know I've been promoting this website for nearly a year now. I freaking love this website. I know it sounds like a sponsor every time I promote this website, but I highly suggest you check it out yourself. You don't have to look up Nancy Drew books. You can look up sci-fi, you can look up fantasy, you can look up cookbooks. I think you can even look up podcasts or audiobooks as well. And like I said, it's free. All you gotta do is put in your email address, create your own username, which is pretty cool. And that's about it. I hope you go to the website to check out the Greek Simple Mystery number 60 yourself. I hope I said that title enough to show all 6 cover arts. I don't think I did. Hopefully, though, I did. Anyway, I love you all so much, my beautiful kittens and viewers, and I hope I helped you out at least a little bit. If not, I'm not doing my job. And on that note, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If so, smash that like button like a kitten would. And if you're just now tuning into this channel and you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that ugly red subscribe button. Make it that beautiful gray, as well as the bell icon right next to it. That'll notify you of all the videos that I do, which are on Wednesdays and Sundays now. Wednesdays, Nancy Drew, and Sundays, the game of my choosing. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or nights, wherever you are in the world. I am Sweet Rascally Rabbit, saying goodbye. Stay awesome and stay on YouTube. That went well, relatively. Why are my papers on the floor?